So thank you, Catherine, for the introduction. With this presentation, I want to briefly introduce you to the building blocks of the Fit for Food City Lab approach before passing on the floor to colleagues in Barcelona and Sofia, who will in turn render it more concrete for us with examples of their on-the-ground work. As Catherine mentioned, I am part of the Fit for Food consortium, where I help coordinate the project City Labs. As a side note, if you haven't yet had a chance to listen to the first webinar of this series, our coordinator Jacqueline Broers introduces the project and its actions to operationalize the Food 2030 policy framework for future-proof food systems through research and innovation, and it's a good background for the work of the City Labs. To start off, echoing a point that Roberta raised, Fit for Food 2030 also identifies system thinking as a key prerequisite alongside active stakeholder engagement. City Labs are our tangible spaces for experimentation at the city level, where we are trying participatory methodologies to make intentional interventions at the city level, facilitated by host organizations that receive project training and support our City Lab hosts. With them, in this case, the aim has been to build competencies on food system responsible research and innovation and raise awareness of initiatives and action plans under the Food 2030 framework. Nevertheless, at each location, by taking part in lab processes, stakeholders and citizens are also building their capacity for broader participatory processes in the future. First of all, from whom are we learning? There is a total of 14 city labs coordinated and hosted by a variety of organizations. And what each have in common is their commitment to act as an interface between research and innovation and society, and embed responsible research and innovation RRI principles in their work. While the work of the labs takes many forms, we can still identify a lab approach. So through a series of workshops and bilateral exchanges, events, consultations, the labs focus on building a community of practice. They ask first who needs to be there at the table, mapping interest, influence, but also underrepresentation and the steps needed to overcome that, and how best to mobilize these stakeholders to take ownership of the process. They develop a shared vision and seek to understand the system's leverage points, and with these insights, they sketch out the roadmap. And today you will see two examples. So in terms of competence needs from our colleagues in Sofia, and also more related to R&I agendas from colleagues in Barcelona. The City Labs then make a plan for action, ideating, prototyping, and piloting solutions. As part of this process, 18 educational modules have been created, and of course other action plans and projects are in the making as well. At the moment, the labs are considering how they can make the modules, the network, the lessons learned survive, and in which forms. There are still actions ongoing at various points in our scheme. Of course, tools and training have been provided for each step, and we will also make these available soon on the project platform. We have applied this experimentation model so far, in particular to competence building as a first playground. And the audiences that the labs target are quite broad, as you can see, from current to future researchers, professionals, and society at large. They have taken part of a process deriving competencies locally, starting first with a vision of the future-proof food system, and asking then what kind of research and innovation system can help to achieve it, and afterwards, what are the competencies necessary, in this case, competencies that are urgently needed and underrepresented in current offers of education and training that will make this research and innovation system blossom. In addition to these local insights, the project has also provided building blocks based on best practices in the field. For example, so learning with society in a deeper way, which means using real-life challenges in collaboration with real-life stakeholders, and as well hands-on, playful STEAM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and the arts educational practices. The others speak more for themselves, so I won't go into more details. Of course, educational modules are just one of the pathways that the labs are taking. You will hear from colleagues in Barcelona more about the R&I agendas and local action plans. And we see that the labs are also places where local initiatives can be discussed. For example, one of the labs discussed a new food system incubator and local opportunities and threats for this new initiative. In cities where the field is quite active in this area, the lab has profiled itself to support their activities, helping them build capacity and bringing inspiration from a food system approach. Finally, some very short reflections from quite a complex process. The diversity of conditions under which the labs operate means that each has to negotiate its position according to who has agency, what partnerships can form, and so on. In the process of building competencies locally, the labs have stressed the need for repeated long-term commitment so that people can get confident in using system thinking tools and approaches rather than simply raise awareness of them. Of course, this requires a meaningful set of incentives, not just for the training recipients themselves, but also for different stakeholders with whom our training recipients learn. Basically a win-win situation for everybody. And finally, I will close on the note of the importance of creating the right environment that facilitates openness to change. That's all from me. Thank you for your attention.